Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. Thanks for coming out. We have this 725 Platinum. This came in a group recently. We went through this thing. I had the recoil off yesterday, degreased it, repainted it. The thermostatic automatic choke vane was not where it should have been. It was outside the track of the air vane, so we put that back on. We got this thing to start. Last part of the video, we started it. Wheels would not engage in the down position. When you lift it off the front end, they would engage. So we're going to discuss that after I give you the information from yesterday. It was built May of 2012, and here's the Sears and Roebuck number. I'll put a link to the video below. Oh, there goes UPS. He didn't stop. Shame on that UPS employee. I was looking for some parts. Maybe I'll have them tomorrow. So as you can see, here's the wheels that came off them. Absolutely no teeth left in this thing. They were rounded out, smooth, both wheels. So that was definitely an issue, and we had some tire wear here as well. So these were shot. I'll give you new part numbers for these, and then we'll discuss wheel bearings. So I've already done the other side with a new wheel bearing and a new wheel. So I buy these in groups of 10 or 20 to get a discount. This is what a new one should look like. The teeth are up here where they need to be so the gear can interact. The only difference with these is the original ones were gray. You can get them in gray and white. I just happened to buy a 10-pack of the whites, so they won't match the rear wheels, which I don't give a crap about. So we'll need that here in a minute. I'll give you a part number. This falls under Husqvarna, but it will work for the Craftsman. They're all generally the same. The part number 532403111. I'll put that down below. It's an 8 by 1.75 MAG, which probably means MAG 2, RAD 3, white. It's the part number 532403111. And there's a caution below. Pregnant women, do not look at this wheel. Reproductive harm may ensue. California warning, P65V. So pregnant women, you got to leave the area right now. Click off of my channel. This is an alert. So that's that. Let's discuss the wheel bearings. I had done another crafty video a while back, and I had asked you guys for some help in these bearings, because all Craftsman showed was this whole assembly for 20 bucks. So 40 bucks to both sides. They give you the lever, the whole 9 yards. So I kind of used my little micrometer when I had that one off and took some measurements of a bearing and come up with some dimensions. So this one was completed. Second issue with these was that this axle arm here was moving up and down. So it would be locked in one position, hole number 6, but this moved up and down. So what that causes, if your axle's moving up and down, it means the gear's going to be grinding the teeth off. So we had double issues. We had a worn out bearing, and then this was loose, causing this to jump up and down and hit the teeth every time you hit a bump. Here's one of the bearings that came out of the machine. The other one I destroyed. So why don't we bring you down? I'll put this on the shaft. You can see how much play was on it, and then I'll put a new one on the shaft. I'll try to do all this one-handed. So I'll put one of the old ones on. Totally shot. The centerpiece here is worn out, and the bearings themselves in the cartridge are worn out. So this jumping up and down causes the gear to jump, and you get a smooth wheel here. It'll eat those teeth for dinner. And I just dropped the bearing, but here it is. Here's the new one. Very, very little play. The only play is in the production of these things. These things are pretty cheap. They're not as tight as a Turo, I should say. The Turos are about $5 each. You can get 2 of these and 2 retainers. The retainer is this piece right here that the bearing sits in. You can get those 4 items for $20 from Bill's place. Go to my other Turo videos and I have a link to Bill. I sent an email to Bill. I said, hey, check out my channel. I mentioned you, and didn't hear a peep from Bill. I don't think Bill was too impressed with my video. I gave him a free plug. So this is a 2012 unit. Yeah, May of 2012. So you're going to find this kind of wear after that amount of time. Most people aren't going to mess with putting new bearings on it. They may change the wheel because it's easy just to buy a 2-pack and throw it on, but your issue's going to be the same. If you don't take care of the bearing over time, it'll wear out the teeth. Maybe it'll get you 5, 7, 10 years. Who knows? By that time, maybe the rings will be shot and it's time to get rid of the unit anyhow. So let me show you the bearing information. I got these on AliExpress. Here's the seller's name. I bought a bag of 10. They were $16.26, shipping included. Here's the size, 12.8 millimeter by 28.7 millimeter by 11.15 millimeter. And it comes down to $1.62. You just move the decimal point over, $1.62 each. So that's quite affordable. I got another batch from another seller, and what I found is the dimensions are slightly off. You'll have like a 12.7 by 28.7 by 11.12 or something similar, very close. And I think all of those would work. Just trying them on this Craftsman, these dimensions, it fit right into the retainer. I used like a 22 millimeter socket, which covers the outside lip, the flange, like so, and then just tapped it gently down. You don't want a socket that pushes on the inner part of the bearing. That's gentle. You want to be out here on the lip, pushing this outer part of the bearing. So that's enough of that. One of my subscribers said he got some on the big jungle company, And what it'll say in the description, it'll say like lawnmower bearings, hand cart, roller, something or other. They don't say it'll fit a Craftsman Poulon or a Husqvarna. They just say lawnmower. So I kind of had to take a chance, did some research, and it was only 16 bucks out of my pocket. It ended up working. So it says here on the back, JOH, that might be the company, B-100, and it could be a 9 if I'm not mistaken. So bearings have different sizes, of course. Some have a plastic or a rubber seal here. This one's actually steel, and some will have a rubber backing here. There's all kinds of different types, and I recognize this number from my research, the B1009, with that dimension. I'll put the dimension below for you. Like I said, you can go to the Big Jungle Company and get a 4-pack of these. They're not very much. So I went ahead and used my Miller-Matic MIG welder. I didn't even do any sanding. I just tacked this here so this axle wouldn't flop up and down, and I tacked it here at the bottom so this wouldn't move. So this is going to last the lifetime of this machine, that crappy weld. So let's put this thing back together. It's 11 millimeter on these bolts, so it's nutted from behind or underneath. So let me get you back up on the stand. I think I got all the tools I need. We'll put it in. Hopefully the heat here and the shade's not going to knock off my iPad. So let me go to town and put this back together again. So I probably should have did the other side because this one's a little tight on the clearance because the transmission's on this side. So I kind of really gotta manipulate the nuts back on. And I don't have my ratchet heads out here. That would probably speed up the process. I did grease the threads, so hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, I'm getting busy. So I've got this carburetor face down on the Crafty. Hopefully I don't have any issue with any leaking oil or gasoline. I kind of looked at the cap on the tank. I didn't see anything dripping. Hopefully there's no oil seeping into the cylinder. So I'm thinking I'm going to ask at least $180 for this, since I went to the trouble of putting new front wheels on it and mess with the bearings. Usually an older unit like this, if I just clean the carb, I would do $150. But since I put this extra effort into this thing, I'm going to ask a little bit more for it. have not really had any interest in self-propelled right now. Everybody, like I mentioned before, is looking for a cheap standard pusher. So my 100 to 120 units, those are selling quickly. Haven't really taken in any trades. Scrappers have been producing. Kind of was out here a couple days ago, and a scrapper showed up. I'd seen the truck before. He stopped like 2 houses down. Somebody had looked like a bicycle on the side of the road. So I got his attention, ran down the street. He probably thought I was a nut. I pointed to my house and said, I live there, work on lawn mowers. A Spanish guy, he knew a little bit of English. He said he would stop if he came up with any mowers. So we'll see if he stops again. That was just a few days ago. I'll give him a week, see if he saves some for me. He had a full trailer, so I think he might do it all the time. Looked like he had been around town. Okay, so it's on. There's a hole here in the axle. This little pin goes in. The little pin has a edge on it, and then one side is smooth. So make sure you're pushing it down with this little edge here. Is going to be at the top. So I just give that a tap, so it's about halfway. So look at that, how tight that axle is now on the new bearing assembly. There's no play whatsoever. There's going to be no wear on these tires because it's not jumping up and down. Okay, there's a notch in the gear right here. The gear only goes on one way. I'm going to grab my tub of grease, put a little grease back here. A little grease on the front side. So this is what I always forget. You got to put the mud guard on for. I've done this about 5 times, put it on, and then forgot about the dirt guard here. So that goes down against the frame. Then you put your gear on. Okay. So I'm going to put a little grease here on the washer. The wheel's going to contact the big washer there. So what do we need? We need the C-clip. So you got to kind of pull up on the axle because everything wants to sag, and put your C-clip in the groove. What I normally do is take some channel locks and pull the C-clip on. I'm going to try to do this all with 2 hands, and hopefully this C-clip does not fling off into outer space. See, I normally I could do it with 2 hands messing with this, but I need to pull up on the axle with my second hand. There we go, we got it. Somebody's calling me for a mower. So that's on. I'm just going to rotate the clip so it's facing down, just as a precaution. without pulling it off a second time. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Use my channel locks to try twisting it. If it doesn't want to move, I'm not going to mess with it. Just like to have gravity working for me. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it. Okay, that's gonna stay there. I probably should have thought of that beforehand. Okay, I'm gonna take a little grease, put it here on the inner. Maybe a little bit on the shaft. I think I already did the shaft a little bit before, but just a little bit more to make sure. Okay, so that's down. I put a little bit here on the back side of the nut to lubricate that plastic. So it doesn't take very long to change these out. Sometimes you'll get a bearing assembly that's a bare, and you gotta really knock it out. I chiseled this one out. Okay, so we got this 9/16 on the nut. Okay, that's tight. You don't have to over torque it. Let me bring this back up. Why don't I move it over to the side yard? You can meet me over there, and then we'll do a little testy test on this. Okay, back at you. Here we go. I got to get you in the shade. I don't want the iPad to crap out. Okay, I'm ready for you. Let's start this thing. Auto choke. The gas did, it must have dripped out. I can see the bottom of the tank is wet. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some more fuel in it. I think we're out of fuel. Either it dripped out or I used it all yesterday when I was testing it out. Okay, so there's enough in the bottom of the tank. I tried to refuel as fast as possible. Let's go. Hope you could see that. Super happy with this Platinum 725. That smoke's probably from the painting. I painted it yesterday, the recoil. So we got a tight axle, new tread. This thing is perfect. It just doesn't match in the gray hubcap. We got white and gray, but it functions. Let me give you some specs again. And happy with this, the way it turned out. I'm glad I went through the front end here, got that squared away. I'm glad I found this seller on AliExpress. But you can put in your own search engine, all these dimensions in millimeter. I'll put that down below. You buy in bulk, they're about $1.62 roughly, or $2 a bearing. Turos seem to be Turo only. I haven't really messed with those other than the OEMs, but maybe I'll try one of these next time. I really haven't given it a shot. Maybe these will work. Here's your crafting number, 917.370440. I appreciate you coming out, looking at this. This was in a group of roughly 5 for $70. I paid for 4, but one of the Power Smarts ended up being a running and moving machine after I cleaned the tank and carburetor. I had just told the scrapper I wasn't interested. He kind of just threw them into the deal. So I was counting on 4 for $70. We ended up getting 5 units for $70. I think one of them is shot, like I mentioned before. It's got a engine damage. It's just been beat up way too much. So I'm going to wait for an engine to show up that I can transfer onto the good-looking deck. Anyway, things are moving, shaking, cutting, mowing. Appreciate you coming out to Tommy Time. Continue to have a good day today. Always tip your waitress and wait staff. They really need the extra income or basic income. It's not anything extra. They don't get paid a lot hourly. They rely on you guys for generous tips. Have a good day.